Hello and welcome back to Trainz Plus. Thank you very much for joining me in today's video. And in today's video, despite what you see on screen, I am not going to be driving a Class 55 Deltic. However, I am going to be starting a route from King's Cross to Edinburgh along the East Coast Mainline. I've gone ahead and downloaded the entire route, and then I've gone into the Surveyor and adjusted things. So instead of a Class 55 Deltic with a rake of, I don't know what they are, Mark II coaches, I think the Mark II coaches, doesn't actually tell me, does it? No, instead of that, I'm going to be taking an 8-car 253 set. So Class 43 HST either side, and with 8 Mark III coaches instead. Now, this is the new HST that is available in Trainz Plus. I've had a look at it, but I want to see what it is like actually on a route, as opposed to a little model railway demo. And along the way, I'm going to be looking at some cameras. I believe I've had a request to take a look at some cameras, so I'll be doing that. I'm also going to be taking a look at the scenery available on the East Coast Mainline and looking at what needs to be replaced to upgrade this to modern standards, because I think that this is probably a really important one. Lastly, I am going to be able to do a direct comparison, at least at the beginning, between the HST sets that were available back when this was created and the HST set that is available now, because there should be one parked right next to me at King's Cross. So make sure you stay tuned. Let's get started. For this first part, I'm probably going to run the initial 58 minutes or so. I think that it says to go over to Peterborough. Realistically, this train should be able to do that faster, but because I'm going to be limited to what the Deltic could do and the speed limits are set to 100 miles per hour back when this is set, it is going to be slightly slower. So make sure you stay tuned and let's get started. Alright, here we go. I'm not in charge of a Class 55 Deltic, but that is okay. We are departing at 10 AM, so whilst we are getting ready to depart, I'm going to go ahead and check the back of this train, because I'm not sure. Yes. See, I wasn't sure if the lights were correctly set up, so I'm going to ensure that the lights are correctly set. There we go. Lights are correctly set. And back at the front of the train, I'm not entirely certain how the lights are supposed to be set here. So I'm going to set them the way I remember seeing them on some trains, and that was with four lamps. Occasionally I would see it with that light also illuminated, but I do remember seeing them with 4 lamps, marker lamps and those. Now let's have a very quick look. If I just go into the roaming camera. By the way, somebody asked if they want for the walking camera. This is the walking camera. This isn't exactly useful here because I'm on the tracks, but I'm sure we could probably use it at some point, and it would be fairly good. Just doing a quick comparison, if we go back to the roaming camera, between the HST as you see it with its deflectors and its modern detail. I say modern detailing. Ooh, it's the City of York with its modern textures, quite crisp and much better modelling. If we go over to this, these are the old HSTs, and you'll notice that the lighting is very simple, the modelling is very, very simple, the texturing is very simple. It just is not, it is nowhere near this standard. This is a much, much higher standard, so that is quite appreciated, I would say. that difference, and you will see it in a couple of places. Right, time to proceed to Newcastle. So let's get on the train. We have all the lights running. Let's go ahead and release the brakes. Let's pop the reverser into forward. Not going to use the horn because I have pointed out before the horn here it's pretty bad. In fact, let me just show you what the horn is like. And it's just sort of if I hold it, that needs to be a proper horn. That really needs to be a proper horn. I think that would be so much better. Now there is an 80 mph speed limit out of here. This route was built some time ago, so I'm expecting quite a lot of issues with it, but that's fine, because I want to see just what needs to be improved. And I think that it would be pretty good to see that. Now this is probably a perfect time to take a walking camera. Oh, somehow I've managed to get... Am I standing up on something? But this is a fairly good camera angle right here. And for some reason, the lights have reset themselves. That is a little annoying. It's a pretty good view. As we go through, the train, the glass is a little dirty. But that's, I suppose, somewhat realistic. Some twins in that carriage, first class coach. Now the first leg of the run is passing through Peterborough, so we'll be heading all the way up to Cambridgeshire. One thing that I think is missing in this coach, or in this consist with this new version, is it looks like there isn't anything connecting up the carriages properly. So the carriage connectors appear to be missing, because there's an awfully large gap there that I'm not sure is supposed to be there. Trying to make sure I actually do not speed through all of this. It's 15. When you approach restrictive signals, so it's just some warnings about the AWS system. Let's try and let's pick this up a little bit. That's not bad at all. It's actually a fairly good view, and it's ruined the rear lights as well. So that is one issue, clearly. Let's go over to the front again. Apparently it's now 45 miles per hour. I'm not sure how that is the case. So I have no idea why it keeps changing the light settings, and I have tested this. This is not the first time it has done it. It just seems to randomly switch lights off, change them, do whatever it wishes to do with the lights. Now I am kind of curious to see what this would sound like as it started its acceleration. So if we drop ourselves down here, let's see what it sounds like. And I'll start talking about other things in a little while. It's changed the lights again. No, it hasn't. I'll take that back. I can start hearing the turbos picking up. There it goes. That wasn't bad. I do think there needs to be a little bit of improvement on the movement between the notches and the way the sounds adjust themselves. Which is, it's interesting because when I was testing this, I could get it to jump through the different sounds, but also I could get it to not jump and actually smoothly progress through the sounds. And I thought, well, that's interesting. But there we go. And we will be heading into an 80, and tell you what, I guess at this point we'll stay on board. Let's go ahead and switch on. No, not necessary. Just accelerating at notch 8. It's interesting that I can for some reason see through that. It's not supposed to be the case. That's where the sunflower is supposed to be. So a few issues there. I tried pressing the driver guard button. What'd that do? Doesn't actually do anything. That's the windscreen wipers, that's brake test. Not quite necessary. Let's ease off on the power. Take a look outside. Activate chase cam, of course. It does look pretty decent in terms of visuals. This is good. Now I have no idea exactly where we are at each stage. I'll sort of have to try to figure it out for myself as we go along, and just try to work out exactly where we are. Probably drop off the speed there. Just try and get that to slow itself down. Oh, we're into an 80. It's just trying to figure out where we are according to where the train is sort of turning, what I can see. So clearly we've got a depot here. So, oh, there's a... Right, what I might do is I might just do a quick pause here. You'll be able to do a direct comparison between these two trains. There we go. Right, just a direct comparison between these two. For this, I'll probably go into the fly camera, which is a bit like the drone camera. So a bit like the free roam camera, but it just allows me to move around a little bit better. So here we go. That's what that looks like. Is it hovering over? No, shadow's a little odd. But then compare those two. Just compare the fronts of those two. Just the smoothness of that line compared to the more jaggedness of that line. The colours, the dirt, the numbers, even where it says Intercity. And if you look at the top where the fans are, the cooling, everything. So the Marsden cooling section, these grills across the side, the vents. It's so much better. The quality is so much better all the way along. And of course, that shows quite easily the difference between those two, because there you go. Those two are identical coaches. So yes, definitely much better. A much better model And it does, I've not driven the other ones, so I'll have to see what those are like. But I think it is somewhat better. Should go get ourselves into, let's get ourselves into this mode. What sort of speed are we doing? 75 out of 80. Slow that down a bit. It's not a bad view. Not a bad view at all. It does take a while to load these things up, and that's something that I do find a little bit concerning. I am trying to figure out exactly where we are, because I have absolutely no idea at present. So I wasn't really paying attention to where we initially came in from. So just thinking, going around this corner, how far? So is this? No, this isn't Finsbury Park. This could be, looking around that way, this could be Ali Pali. I think this is Ali Pali, because then straight after Alexandra Palace there is this tunnel, which, as you can see, is broken in Trainz Plus. So I think that this sort of fix is to sort out this route, to fix this route, is probably a 3-person job. So yeah, definitely a 3-man job. And what I think needs to happen is one person needs to be on the terrain, one person needs to be on reworking the models, and I'll talk about that in a minute. One person needs to be on reworking the track and the stations, and just making sure that, and probably also on redoing the scenarios. Yeah, I think that was definitely Ali Pali. Because now I think we're heading towards, so there should be another tunnel ahead, and we're going to be going through Barnet and Oakley Park. And after that tunnel, I'll start talking about what I think needs to be replaced, and things that honestly I may try myself. Yeah, here we go. So we're going through. So there's some roads over the top of us, and then we'll head towards Oakley Park. So we'll be passing Oakley Park Station, and then Barnet. Was it New Barnet? Barnet, New Barnet, something like that. So if we have a look outside now, as we're going through these houses, now you'll notice that a lot of them are fairly, in fact, the same. They're just the same model. So that is one model, that is a second model. In fact, no, both of those are one model. So that's one model, that's a second model, that's used there, that's a third. Is that a third? That's a third model. So that's 3 models of houses, and then a 4th. So four models of houses is what we have as we pass through. Is that Oakley? No, New Barnets. That was New Barnets. So 4, in fact, there's a 5th one, 5 models. So by changing 5 models of houses, you could improve what all of this area looks like. And somebody mentioned to me that in Surveyor, the Surveyor 1, there is the option to do a bulk replace. And I did take a look, and I found it, and I thought that's really useful. So this is something I mentioned in the last video, that if there was a way to bulk replace things, that would be ideal. And it looks like there actually is. As passing through Hadley Wood, I think. just going to go through a few tunnels. You see there we go. That's a bit of terrain that's broken as well. It's just going to be going through a few tunnels, and this one is. I wonder if the M25 is there. This is over the M25. Yep, there it is. That's the M25, or its representation of it. So, or under the M25, should I say? Which means the next station should be Potter's Bar. But yes, going around and changing these models is not quite as difficult. Now, admittedly, you could go back and start replacing the models and lining up each road properly, etc. That would be a much bigger task. But just to get it up to speed, so here, that's just to make that look better, replace those models with a single one and do a bulk replace, and I think that would make a huge difference. These little bridge beams, same thing, bulk replace, it would look so much better. In fact, whilst we're out here, let's go to the drone view. So the drone view is, it's like the free cam, but it's attached to the train. So if we have a look around now, we'll just look off to the side here. These models here, that's not too bad. They could do with a little bit of polishing, but they're not too bad. We do have the houses. Let's have a look down here as we go past this. That looks okay-ish. These trees could all be replaced if there's a way to do full replacement of all the trees. Look at that, it's done this again. That's a fairly good setup, isn't it? We'll just cruise through this area like this. These houses all need to be changed. You can see where this station used to be. It used to be much bigger than it is. It's all been cut away. I have no idea where we are now, by the way. Also, I remember doing this a long time ago, and I recall a yellow light. So I think that was Brookman's Park. Now we're going to be going through Welham Green. Possibly. It's difficult to know where you are from the railway, even if you know the areas. If we come up with a road alongside us, that would be Great North Road, so that might tell me where exactly I am. I don't see it though. Oh, actually, I do see that road out there. That could be it. But yes, that building there. Replace that. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 repeated. Fix the bridge. This is what I mean. The person did have to go around the track fixing all of that. I do think this is... Yeah, I think I know where I am. Those houses are different, so those are new sets of new models. Those ones are not. So maybe another set or two. Yes, this is the Great North Road, so that's heading towards Edinburgh anyway. And in fact, we will be paralleling for many a section. We will be somewhat paralleling the M1, not the M1, the A1. Okay, so this is Hatfield then. Yes, this is Hatfield that we are now going through. And just looking around at those houses are the same as what we saw earlier. Those ones are the same. Those ones we just saw earlier as well. Should we say seven models? 7 models would improve all of that. Then somebody needs to improve those textures. I do think it is possible. The terrain would perhaps be the bigger issue, I would think. Not entirely certain, but that's just my thoughts on it. Oh, might want to extend the tiles as well, because if you're here, you can very easily see past the end of that tile. So these tiles might need to be extended towards the A, which is, by the way, that's where the A1 is, just out there, and we will be paralleling the A1 quite often, or being quite close to it. So we've met it again here. I think we were near it when we were going past Holloway. We'll be passing it again around Peterborough, possibly go near it as we go past through Cambridge, and then we'll be up towards it when we get towards Doncaster and Newcastle, going up that way. We'll peel off a bit from it again, and then we'll be parallel to it, literally parallel to it, on the way into Edinburgh. It's an interesting one on the way into Edinburgh, actually. Right, where are we now? This is Welwyn Garden City. So there should be a tunnel coming up after the Digswell Viaduct. Should be. It's not a big tunnel. I'm not sure why that tunnel is actually. Well, I guess they do not want to cut into the hill, because I think it's a. I'm not sure if it's a country park or what. So that's the next. There's the viaduct. As we go over it, we could, for example, I'm just going to pause this again. So there might be a few pauses just so because I'm starting to try and get used to maybe that view. In fact, that's probably a fly camera is probably a better option here. But we have green. I swear, when I did this a long time ago, there was an amber somewhere, a caution signal. Just do a flyby like that. That's going quite fast, and to watch it head into the tunnel, you can press control with these cameras to speed up. There we go. What sort of speed am I doing? 101. Let's do that. Then we'll go over the top and see where we pop out. Here we are. And then we'll pop out again. There should be a slight curve to this one. There it is. And we can pop out right here, and we'll just sit it down right there. Now, unfortunately, I cannot rotate this as quickly as I want to. That's the annoying section. Let's power up just a touch. But because I cannot rotate it, I cannot rotate the camera without my mouse. It's much harder to do what I want to do. Now, possibly, if you had a D-pad or a game controller or something, you might be able to do a better job there. That area all out in the distance would need to be built and modelled. This reminds me a bit of when they were testing the Intercities and trying to get them up to really high speeds. They'd have things following them from helicopters following them from a height. I remember something about that. There's up here like this as we go through something or other. It's not a bad view overall. Find another spot. Might need to check if I'm speeding again. No, I'm definitely not speeding. 90. Still annoyed about the fact that these lights keep changing. But at least at 90 miles per hour, I'm able to chase this train. I think we're approaching Stevenage. Yeah, I think we are approaching Stevenage. So as we go around the corner, just fly straight past. See, at this point, what I would like to do is turn around and do that. That's much harder to do without the camera available to me, or without my controls available to me. Right, let's speed up just a touch. And I was right, we are approaching Stevenage. So let's just make our way through Stevenage station. And the next station on our route would be... I don't actually know. Not sure what the next station is. Well, I say next, we're just passing through it. And then after that, it's pretty much... I think after that, this is a lot of countryside. So currently we're in Bedfordshire. So we've left London well and truly behind. And speaking of the A1, we should be crossing the A1. In fact, that's the A1 ahead of us with another broken bridge, I believe. Yes, I think... Yes, that is the A1 with a broken bridge. So another bridge that needs to be fixed. Perhaps I should keep a count of how many times we actually do end up crossing the A1. It will probably happen again some point soon. As I said, we will keep running nearby it. But I think it's gone over that side. It's gone over to the right side of us, so we have to go across it again, or it has to cross us again at some point, because it is generally on the left of us, not the right. That's a very short goods train. It should be on the left of us a lot of the time, and at the moment, as we've said, it's over on the right. So it will be crossing. Will be crossing us here. I just am not entirely certain where. Is that it? No, that's too close to housing. That cannot be it. It's also a very tiny bridge. That didn't even seem like the right bridge. I have no real idea as to where we are, so I'm just going to have to guess. That's a junction for something. We do have points, but where I'm not entirely certain. It's not too bad from sitting in the cab here. So the lights keep changing. This isn't too bad from here. Do we have other seats here? I could sit in the engineer's seat if I wanted to, or stand there. Those are my three options. Try and figure out where we are now. Now these bushes also will need to be replaced the entire way, because their level of detail model is poor. Roads are probably the biggest thing that let let this down, because the roads are a very strange, compared to the colour of the rails, they are a very strange colour. But this is definitely, in my opinion, this is a route that must be updated. This is quite a straight section, so I think I might know where we are. I think. If I've got this correct, the A1 should be crossing in a few seconds, and we should be coming up to Biggleswade? Possibly? That could be the A1. Nope, that's not the A1, that's for sure. That's just a tiny little thing. Okay, so I am probably wrong then. I'm probably, hopelessly lost as to where we are. Let's take a look. So we have some housing out that way. I have no idea what that housing could be for. We're actually going down to 2-track, finally. Finally down to 2-track. Look at that. Modern signals with old semaphores. That's nice. That's a road. Not an A road, a road. I actually have no idea where we are. Oh. Well, we went down to 2-track and we're immediately back up to 4. That's a water... That's a pumping station. Pumping station. No, I am quite hopelessly lost. We're somewhere in Bedfordshire, right? Possibly entering Cambridgeshire. That's another road, random road. And it's still really, really straight, so I have absolutely no idea. Oh, there should be an RAF base around here, right near the railway, so maybe that is modelled. Or not. I could have passed it, but I do not recall seeing it. Speeding 100 of 100. I'm not sure if I'm speeding. I think we're probably still in Bedfordshire. We could not have gone through into Cambridgeshire that quickly. Plus, we are still about half an hour from Peterborough. That's the A1. Okay, if that's the A1 going across again, this must be what's the Biggleswade. So does that road oh, it just disappears. Okay, so really that road should be just along here, right near the railway. If this is where I'm thinking it is. Hang on, I did see a sign. Biggleswade. Lovely. That sounds horrible. That I don't know what that was. There was a whistle sign there, so maybe these roads would need to be, I think, probably built out. There is a lot that needs to be built out here. But once you've started changing the models to more accurate models, you'd have less of an issue. I really do not want to press the horn again. Yeah, decentish view. Oh no, I was going to stay outside for most of this, wasn't I? We'll probably use the drone view actually a lot more. Thank you to the person who told me about this, by the way. I had really no idea. This is a much nicer view to look around things with. Oh, another train. Looks like a very small train. 2 cars? 2 cars. So I have no idea where we are now. After Biggleswade, I have no idea what the next towns are. Might just tell us though. And Biggleswade was definitely written. Does this one have a sign anywhere? Sandy? Did that say Sandy? I think that said Sandy. It was very difficult to make out, but I definitely saw an SAN and a Y. I'm sure I saw a Y or an SA and a Y. And the only town I can think of with that would be Sandy. So even that bridge could be remodelled. It would make a big difference. These buildings being remodelled would make a big difference. If I had the time, I would probably be tempted to take this on. At least the remodelling bit. Retexturing things, remodelling and retexturing buildings and assets, redoing the terrain, definitely not something I can do. That would be well outside of my remit. How do I slow this down? So a way to slow it down. Try and slow the camera down. I can definitely speed it up. There's no way to slow it down. If there was an option to slow it down, that would be quite useful. There's still that little notch in the sounds. Notch 3 to 4 doesn't have any difference. Right, where are we? Should pull up a map. No idea. Some farms. National speed limit. Doesn't really help me. .36. Where would we be? About half an hour after that power station though. That might be helpful. If I can think about what power station that would be. If that power station is actually there in real life. Anyway. What power station is here? Along the East Coast Mainline. That's very green. That is very, very green. It's just in the middle of nowhere. Surely there's more than that around here. I have absolutely no idea. None at all. Got some old sidings though. That must have been for coal. Which actually makes the power station seem a little bit far away. Yeah, that does make the power station seem just a touch too far away. This is a big town? It does have some housing out there. I can only assume that there's supposed to be housing in this area as well, potentially. Or maybe towns have expanded to this area now. So that's why it looks like there should be housing there, because I'm thinking of where a town would have expanded, but perhaps back then it had not. What would be ideal is if I pulled up 1980s maps. That would be interesting. That way I'd know where the roads actually were supposed to be. Now I have no idea where I am. This train station's right on the edge of town. That's the end of the tiles there. They do need to extend the tiles. Does it tell me? Oh, I've missed that sign there. Tractor. There is some housing here. No clue. Absolutely no clue. But I'm actually now pulling up a map to try and figure out where I am. Now, what would that station have been? Not a foggiest. Yeah, because I just have no idea as to where I am. Wait, river. That should help me, because that would be... What river goes along this side? The Great Ouse? Is that how it's pronounced? Great Ouse? And if that's the case, then we should be getting in towards Huntington soon. Yes, we should be getting towards Huntington soon. But when I say soon, I don't know how soon, because where would the river be? And the river's on the other side of Huntington, so we should be crossing it. If we cross this river, because this is the first river I've seen, if we cross this river, I think we're going into Huntington and that area. That's if we cross it. If we do not cross it, I'm lost. I'm definitely lost. And we haven't passed Peterborough, that much I know, but then we are definitely in Cambridgeshire. And actually, after Huntington, the next stop should be Peterborough. Okay, we're right next to the river again. But we're not crossing it. Oh no, the river's going away from us. Maybe that isn't the Great Ouse. Oh. That's a problem. It's disappeared in that direction. That building could do with some major work. Serious rebuild of whatever that is. Some fertilizer farm. Oh. Well, the river's gone. Well, so much for me using the river to know where I was. Bother. This looks like another main road. I say it looks like a main road, it's not exactly a main... No, it's just a tiny road. Just a very fancy bridge. It's just a nice bridge for a tiny... That's not a main road. Alright. That's an iron bridge for no reason too. I do like the slight... So when you let go, there's that slight slowdown, deceleration. We've just crossed the river. We have just crossed the river. Oh, it's down to 70. Where did that 70 warning? It didn't even warn me about that. Right, so this must be Huntington then. Right, it didn't even warn me about the 70. There was no AWS signal or anything for the 70. That's unfair. Well, on the plus side, I'm going to be able to take a look. Is this Huntington? Yes, it is. Okay. I wasn't through a brick wall. I wasn't terribly off. Now let's get ourselves up to 70 and then back up to 100. Why did it not warn me? Okay, so if that is the case, I do believe that the next station should be Peterborough, I think, and we are just going to fly through it, although, again, it hasn't told me if there's any speed limits. So we'll have to see. I don't think we're going to be crossing, or the A1 is going to be crossing us again, nor will we. It's somewhere out that way, and I think it'll stay out that way for a while now. We'll be near it, but I think it does stay. We do stay away from it. We run roughly parallel to it. And then, of course, we are going to be going through Grantham, which is a complicated area. I want to see how that is represented. I've been past that a few times before. So we'll be going near the A46, A47, A46, which heads up towards Hull, Lincoln, Grimsby, that area. Grimsby, I think. And then in the opposite direction heads down towards Exeter. Clonk. But we will not be reaching that in this video because we have less than 15 minutes to go. Less than 15 minutes to Peterborough. Let's see how quickly we pass through. Is it really 15 minutes from Huntington to Peterborough? Oh, I suppose it might be. There is a bit of a there is a bit of a distance. That speed change was silly. That was really silly. I'm assuming that, given what just happened there, if I do speed, it will just take over and apply the emergency brakes. But it would have been nice to have an AWS signal. I'll tell you what we can do. Just thought about this. Oh dear. Go back. Just thought about this. Why don't I sit in a carriage? Facing the wrong direction, not... Yeah, sure. Let's do that. It's quiet, really quiet. I was expecting more. I was expecting some wobble, some rattles. Not this. I am keeping an eye on the signals here as well. So I can move around various different seats. It's those 4 seats I have. Okay. Should we see what's in the other carriages? Let's go to that carriage and see what the seating is like in here. Ooh, this is a nice seat. Buffet carriage. What other seats do we have? We have that's one. The windows are filthy. Windows are truly filthy. Let's go over to standard class. That's not standard class, is it? Surely not. Let's go back here. No, it is. They all have tables. That wasn't a buffet carriage. They all have tables. Alrighty. Still the same seats, naturally. We're almost at the back of the train, aren't we? Let's go back. Let's go forward again. Sit in first class. Might as well. There we are. Wonder what it sounds like if I rev this up a bit. Quite quiet. I'd expect a Valenta engine to be a lot louder. And now I'm going to have to pay even more attention to the speed limit signs on the mini map or on the display map, whatever you want to call it. Because obviously I got caught out. Alright, where am I? So if that was Huntington, from Huntingdon, I keep calling it Huntington. It's not. It's Huntingdon. Similar meaning, but still. So yeah, where am I? I'm waiting for buildings to appear so that I know I'm roughly where I'm supposed to be. But this isn't going to be all too helpful. Could just sit and do this. I suppose if you had this under computer control, you could just sit and enjoy the ride. It's a fairly well modelled locomotive, train, carriage, coach. That's the word. We have some houses cropping up. Okay, this could be something. Nope, those are just a few houses. Not sure where we are. Farmland. That's about it. There isn't much else. I've now found sort of where I should be on the railway, so I am looking for a lake out in this direction. And if I see a lake, I know I am somewhere near Peterborough. Question is, would I be able to see the lake from the train? That is a question. That is a question to be asked. Is that a lake? No, it's just a square full of something. A square of mud. That is what that is. Just a square of mud. Is there a square of mud somewhere on this route? I'm looking for a square of mud. No, not really. Not really. Oh, there's some more houses out there, though. That's looking promising. Wherever that is. Again, search for a lake. Already an hour into this video anyway. So it is coming up to time. It is coming fairly close to the time to end this video, but I do want to at least get past. It still says 8 minutes. Or it's 10:52. It's supposed to be 8 minutes over to Peterborough. So it would be interesting to see if I do end up early. It's a possibility. I'm not going to see anything from here. If there is a lake over there, so I'm never going to know. Just more farmland, a quarry, iron mine, smelter. I guess I could work it out from how far I am from King's Cross. 74 miles currently. That's a lake. Okay. Is that what I was thinking of? I do not know. I do not know at all. Little bridge, some areas. It's not really helping me. Though I will say this area appears to be far more built up than... Yes, this is all starting to build up. So this is promising. I say this, now watch it all just disappear. And say, no, sorry, it was the wrong town. You're actually in somewhere else. Oh, we are turning in here. Oh, what is this? Oh, no, wait, we have to be... Surely we have to be somewhere. We have to be in Peterborough. This looks familiar to me. I know this area. I've seen this area. I know this area. So that's also the front of my train. Why are you in reverse? There we go. Yeah, this is definitely an area that I am familiar with. Although I don't know what's happened to the bridge on that side. That side of the bridge has disappeared. This side of the bridge, the bit that's kind of important, it's still here. So I'm just going to potentially take that as the thumbnail. I mean, that's quite a high speed we're going through. Yeah, I'm fairly sure we're in Peterborough. And now I guess I can pause this and look out the window to read a sign. See if there's any sign that tells me where I am. Platform 5. Yeah, this has to be. Surely this has to be Peterborough. Well, there we go. We are here, and we are passing through. I think it could be. You know what? Honestly, we could be anywhere. I might be in the completely. I could be. I don't know. Could be at another station. It's just that bridge and the river Neen underneath. And I'm fairly sure that was then. This all looks like the Peterborough area. So yes, I'm going to class that as we are 3 minutes early, but we have made it through. It's not ticked. It hasn't ticked anything. Is it not supposed to tick things? I might have broken the scenario honestly by changing the train. I had to make a lot of tweaks, and I'm not sure I've made enough of them. But there we go. That is that. The next stop, if I do continue this, the next pass-through point will be in another hour's time. So it'll have to be another hour. We'll be going through Grantham, we'll be going through Newark, and then we'll be going. So those are the large stations, the main stations. And then I have no idea where we'll end up being from there. Somewhere, I think there's something else, and then Doncaster, but I'm not entirely certain. Actually, no, it's Grantham, Newark, Doncaster. Next big stations. And then after that, it's What would the next big stations be from there? Honestly, not sure. It'd just be York, right? After that, it's just York. I don't think there is another big station. Maybe Doncaster to York, and then York, York, Darlington, Durham, possibly, and then Newcastle. And then from Newcastle, it's Berwick, and then into Edinburgh. So, I mean, we might stop at Alnwick as well, or pass through Alnwick, I'm not entirely certain. That will then be right along the coast. After Newcastle, we're effectively running very close to the coast almost the entire way. We'll be going through Morpeth, which is where the Morpeth boards come from, because it's a sharp turn. It's a really sharp turn that you do need to be careful of. And then yes, we'll be pretty close to the coast, and at points pretty much on the coast, all the way up to Edinburgh. There's some really nice views from that. But at this point, I'm going to end this video. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to click on the like button if you like this video, subscribe to the channel for more videos on trains. If you want to see more of this, let me know. I will then do the rest of this run all the way up. It will probably take 3 more videos. So yes, if you can do so, please do consider supporting me on Patreon, link in the description box below, as are links to my social media and Discord server. That is all from me, and I shall see you next time. Ooh, that's interesting how when the train turns, the drone stays in its position, rotationally. That's good. That is all from me, and I shall see you. That's a bit too close. And I shall see you next time in Trainz Plus.